never even heard of the game Bocce. And my next door neighbor said, I'm going to pick you up and take you down and meet a bunch of fellas down at the courts. And I got into the game so much that last year I became the league champion. My name is Peter Gelbwax, and I have a beautiful life up here in Big Canoe, just enjoying the nature and family and friends. The way I found out I had cancer was completely by just chance. The situation was I was out to play golf and found a bunch of bloody urine in my commode and decided to immediately go down to the hospital to find out what was going on. They told me I had a kidney stone, and if I signed up with the right urology practice, which is Georgia Urology, I'd be guaranteed seeing a specialist within 48 hours, which by luck, I guess you could say. I was able to connect with Dr. Wesley Ludwig within 48 hours. He agreed that I had a kidney stone, but after further testing, I found out that I also had bladder cancer. The good news on this was that it was very early on. I had an expert doctor who I had checked out with a great bio, who knew what he was doing and showed a lot of care and compassion. And we agreed to move on with the procedure called TURP, T-U-R-B-T, which is the standard procedure for that type of cancer. It had not invaded the wall. And that was the good news, and he was able to get it out, and that was 2 years ago. The follow-up procedure, which was 6 weeks later, which is a repeat to make sure there was no cancer left, was done in June of 22. The bad news is that it is a high grade or a faster growing cancer that can come back, so I was put on a BCG program versus the other kind of treatment, which is chemo. Less side effects. It's not a walk in the park, but it's certainly a lot better than having cancer. And this is now 2 years have gone by, 20 treatments later, and a whole bunch of cystoscopies to make sure they don't come back. I'm due for another one next month, which is every 3 months I have a cystoscopy just to make sure there's no reoccurrence. And they've been wonderful. The overall practice is staff, and the hospital that we utilize, which is Northside in Canton, that's Northside Cherokee Hospital, was great. So, no one likes to have cancer or wants to have cancer, but I think this is the best of that situation. And my experience is nothing but excellent. And hopefully over this next year, as we finish up these treatments, I can go on and continue with my living the blessed life that I have. 5 years prior to my finding out that I had bladder cancer, my son-in-law was having pain and discomfort. He dealt with it differently. He chose to not do much about it for the first year. He did have some exams, but he didn't have the kind that needed to discover that he also had bladder cancer. Same exact type. The difference was, by waiting, he needed to have his entire bladder and prostate removed, which he did successfully. And the good news is that he is alive and well today and works full time. He was only in his 50s at the time, now in his early 60s, and I think it's 6 years. But the difference between waiting and not waiting is enormous, and that's what Dr. Ludwig said to me, that I was one of the smarter ones by acting on this immediately, responding to it, and then following the guidelines that I needed to follow in order to stay healthy and stay cancer-free. So my experience with the Georgia Urology staff has been as close to perfect as possible. They're cooperative, they're understanding, they're compassionate, they show an interest. Whenever I go to an appointment, regardless of which office or even at the hospital, the staff has been great. I've never had to wait a long time. They seem to really operate in a very professional, very efficient manner, but they also show a caring concern that cancer patients need. There's a lot of fear in the early days, and the doctors and the nurses and even the front office do have the ability to calm you down and show that compassion that is much needed. We get to live our life as we did before, but I am a cancer survivor right now, and I'm looking forward to hopefully living a lot more. I'm going to be 78 this year and love to continue to count those numbers and continue enjoying life. This year, fighting to keep that title. In fact, in a couple of days, we'll find out if I'm still the Bocce boy champion of Big Canoe.